Greetings. So, you're looking for a game to play this Halloween. You want it to be fun, challenging, and a bit naughty. A trick or treat, so to speak. I have such a game for you. It's called Midnight Castle Succubus.
You don't have to like it, but I hope you like it.
So, if you're a big fan of the classic Castlevania series like I am, hell, I went to school with Dracula and the Belmonts. But before we get into that, perhaps you should subscribe to the channel. We want to bring you games you may not know exist but are worth playing. Well, most of them anyway. Back to the topic at hand. If you like classic Castlevania, you're going to really enjoy Midnight Castle Succubus. It's a lot like several of those classic games, but with a spicy adult-flavored twist. Be sure you watch until the end of this video to see exactly what I mean. Warning, it may be a little too hot for YouTube. Let's get into it, shall we?
Midnight Castle Succubus. Oh, wait a second. I gotta explain something here.
Oh, yes, I almost forgot. In order to appeal to some of you mortals out there, I'll switch to this fucking lame human voice when reviewing the game for the sake of clarity. Now, back to the review.
Alright, so, released on Steam September 18th, 2020 by developer Pixel Taisoku and Lieber Hart and published by Critical Bliss. Midnight Castle Succubus. Are you looking for a retro-style Halloween-themed game? Well, Midnight Castle Succubus is a Castlevania clone that takes elements from many of the different classic Castlevania games, where you start with a whip, you collect items and power-ups to progress. Now, this game borrows heavily from games like Castlevania 2 and other metroidvanias. Essentially, what a metroidvania is a game where you unlock items by fighting and defeating bosses, which in turn unlocks new power-ups and branching paths to travel upon. There are plenty of secrets along the way too, so be sure to check every wall that looks like you can break it. When you first start this game, you'll notice the direct homage to Castlevania 2. Just look at these graphics, straight out of Castlevania 2. Another place this borrows heavily from Castlevania 2 are these towns. Now in the towns, you'll find townsfolk who give you hints and bits of storyline to immerse you and help you progress through the game. The one thing to know about Midnight Castle Succubus that really differentiates it from Castlevania is it's also an adults-only game. What do I mean by adults-only game? Well, there's a lot of nudity in it, as well as risque outfits, sexual comments, and lewd situations. There's full female and male nudity, strong language, fantasy sexual situations with exaggerated characters, and there's various acts and encounters of sex featuring humans and monsters. But the thing is, you don't have to play it that way if you don't want to. There is a safe for work or safe for streaming version of the game, and with Steam they give you both options. So if the sexual part is not your bag, you have the straight up Castlevania type gameplay game.
Like all games, this one has a few things that remind me of the stench of incubus excrement. Let's go over them, shall we?
Alright, so let's discuss the shit sauce that's in this game. Actually, really, there's not too many things that are that bad. Some of my small gripes are the loading screens are kind of jarring. And what I mean by that is every so often, you'll get this random loading screen, which is essentially one of the lewd photos that you get for the gallery as you collect them by saving the villagers. But they seem to make very little sense in the scheme of the game, especially because you only see them for a split second on the screen. Speaking of the storyline, it's quite cryptic and nonsensical. Now maybe you can make sense of this story, but a lot of it was just nonsense. It was hard to tell what was going on and why you're doing the things you do. But that doesn't affect the gameplay very much. As you know, you're supposed to save a villager, find power-ups, and go to the next area. And now that I think about it, speaking of the areas, the levels themselves can sometimes feel really long. You'll be traveling through them and start to wonder, how far is it until I get to this next boss? And of course, you also find secrets along the way, which makes the areas even larger. Now, I know that's not really a bad problem to have, because longer levels mean longer gameplay. However, some of the levels offer very little challenge and become monotonous. The only other real issue I have with the game is the enemies feel like they have no weight to them. And what I mean by that is if you compare it to Castlevania, when you hit an enemy in that game, it feels like you're hitting the enemy. And in Midnight Castle Succubus, it feels like you've just swung your whip and possibly hit the enemy. You're never sure of it. There's no weight to the force behind your whip. But like I said, these are very minor gripes and overall don't affect the gameplay very much.
Fortunately, the good outweighs the bad in this game. And when I say good, I mean fun and lewd.
All right, time to talk about the good things in the game. First off, the controls are great. If you've played Super Castlevania, it controls a lot like that, only even better. When you're jumping through the air, unlike the old Castlevanias, you can maneuver around, and you're quite floaty, almost like a Mario control, but maybe even more floaty. And when I say floaty, I don't mean that in a bad way. It actually controls quite good. The boss fights to this game are bar none my favorite part of the game. They're not too hard to figure out, and once you figure them out, they're quite fun to execute. Plus, all the bosses just look freaking cool. They're exciting, and really, you just can't wait to get to the next boss for more fun to be had. This game is full of so many secrets and power-ups to find. Every stage has some place you can go, find some kind of secret, find some kind of power-up, as well as backtrack to previous stages once you've gotten some of those power-ups to find more secrets and power-ups, which is, of course, a formula for any classic Metroidvania, but they really go the full mile here. Another thing people seem to apparently like, and I was dissing on them a little bit earlier, are the lewds. Now, the lewds in the gallery are all the villagers that you collect, and it shows the monsters having their way with them. Personally, I like this feature as a novelty, but I don't get much out of that particular indulgence. But from what I've seen about the reviews of these things, people say that they're top-notch for this kind of genre. So who knows? You might like that part a lot. But one of the best things about this game is, if that part isn't for you, you can just simply turn it off and play it as a regular Castlevania-like clone. So all in all, I'm only about 50% through this game at the time of this review. I just found the ability to change into a succubus, and this seems like it's going to be a really fun power to use. Overall, if you've played through the classic Castlevanias and Bloodstained games and want more of that type of thing, this is a great choice.
And, oh my, this game can be quite lewd. Isn't that devilish? Are you going to try this game? And if so, will you play the safe or dirty version? Leave your comment below and click that thumbs up or down. Personally, both are perfectly evil choices in my book. Oh, and as I promised from the beginning of this video, I'll leave you with this spicy scene from the gameplay.
Oh!
What just happened?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Look out.
You lost your costume, apparently. Hey, look at that!
Wow.
Oh,
Good
goodness.
looking couch.
Oh,
There you
goodness.
go.
Looks like you're wearing a thong, at least.
It's cold in there, I guess.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
You don't normally find warm castles, you know?
Not really.
Castles are always...
Turn up the heat, guys. Before I go through this level, turn off the heat.
The heat is on.
Too damn cold. I'm getting blueberries.
Oh, no!
Jumped right into this.
Oh, my goodness. Uh-oh.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
oh,
here we go.
Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, goodness.
Whoa!
I can't afford to be delayed right now.
Well, maybe for a bit.
Oh, goodness.
It's starting to feel big. Oh, God.
Wow.
Well then. Back to the game, folks.
That was a thing.
Good lord.
Uh-oh.